You got purpose, you got fire. He's the spark that lifts you higher. You were made for joy, made for more. It's time to walk through heaven's door. The world is yours, take your place. Every dream aligned with grace. Overflow is your reward. Walk it out, abundance is yours. Oh, you can change it every time. Hope and faith, they realign. You're not stuck, not anymore. 'Cause girl, abundance is yours. Oh.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited to be here. This is awesome. Our first live show. So, this is Julie Loughlin Hares. I am the founder of Divine Abundance, but we are reformatted and we are now Divine Abundance Live with my beautiful co host, Elena Rodriguez.
Hello,
Elena.
hello. Woo, woo. Hello, everyone. This is like so exciting. And I'm so excited for the content that we are going to be bringing to the screen. So whether you're catching us live right now, say hello, or if you're watching the replay later down the road, just thanks for spending time with us and for the love and support.
Awesome. Thank you, Elena. So, Elena and I have been, talking about this for a while, and we decided we really wanted to create a show where we talked about real life things, like what's really going on. And some of the things that we're personally experiencing, and I know a lot of other people, is like, does your life stop after 40? Absolutely not. So we're here to talk about that, and we're here to talk about all things that we're all experiencing collectively, and to give real world advice and real world testimony about really what's happening in both of our lives and in the lives of other people, so that we could be of support and lifting others up as we're all on the journey of life together, right, Elena?
Yes, absolutely. I just celebrated a birthday and turned 52, and I feel fabulous. But has my life gone the way I planned it? Absolutely not. And so I think you get to that point where you just learn to roll with it, but it's conversation that I think we need to have more and more and more. So, maybe you've asked those questions, like when your life didn't go according to plan, and loss and finances and job, career, business, like health, maybe right now you're just kind of wondering, I need something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of the things that we ask ourselves in midlife is like, is this it? Like, is this my life? And did I miss my opportunity? These are things that come up a lot, and even in dealing with people every day in the work that I do, I hear this quite often, Alina. Can I start over? Is there a chance for me to really do something? So as we just kind of reflect on this, all the things that are happening, why does this matter? Well, it matters because we want to give hope and light to people, to let them know that they're not alone, and that, yes, in fact, we can start over. Um, I think that that's really important. In fact, Elena, when you hear the phrase, your best chapter is yet to come, what does that mean for you?
I get excited. First, I get excited because it is hopeful. It's hopeful. It's being optimistic of what's coming. It's continuing to see the results of the hard work that you really have put in. So when I hear like that my best chapters ahead, I'm like, bring it. It's so easy to sit back and look at the things that maybe didn't go the way you wanted, maybe things that hurt and linger and all of that. And that's all cool. Like we could stay there. But when I think of the best is yet to come, the best chapters, I'm like, yeah, that all of that stuff is experience to just make me more fabulous.
Yeah, exactly, Elena. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's how I'm looking at it, and I'm feeling it. And I think when you embody it and you are excited about it, it radiates from you, and it draws the people into you, and around you that are kind of on that same frequency. So it's just like one big party the older you get.
Yeah.
And so, like, even for you, Julie, like, what have you learned? Because I'm not the only one that started over. I mean, you've started over a million times. So, like, what are some of the things that you've learned along that, that phase of your life too?
The biggest thing that I learned, Elena, is that it's never too late to start a company. My dad, and you've heard my story many times, but not everyone has. My dad at age 50 retired from an incredible company, and from 50 to 60 made more money in those 10 years as a consultant with his own business than he did his whole career. And he gave this bit of wisdom to me at a crossroads in my life when I had just recently gotten divorced and I was traveling all over the country. And he just looked at me and he said, buddy, he said, your career and your life, they're not matching up anymore and it's not serving you. So why not consider starting your own company? Do the work that you're doing on a macro scale for individuals and couples that might need your help. He's like, you have a lot of knowledge. There's a lot you could do. Why not? And I'm like, I just stood there and I was like, oh my gosh, like it rang in my ears all the way to Texas, all the way back on that business trip. And I said, you know what? My dad's right. I was 42 at the time. And I started to research what is it that I could do. And, I'm so grateful, Elaine, as I sit here today in my office with my business partner, that we've co-founded, a fiduciary financial planning company. We have a business consulting company, and it's been 7 years working together, but 4 years officially as Breathe Capital Planning. None of this would have happened if I had not been brave enough to step through the gap.
Yes. And I'm just going to add to that because, you bring up a good point where sometimes those that went before us have the best guidance. And talking of your dad, and when I kind of look at my dad, I mean, he passed of cancer years ago, but he just the entrepreneur in him, like that's just who he was. And for me, like just turning 52, I'm actually just starting another line, a lifestyle brand that is true to me. And it's like, starting one business at like 40, I think I was 46 when I actually started my cosmetics company after becoming widowed. So it's like, 40s, let's go. By the time you're 50, you're like kind of fearless a little bit. And those risks, the risks pay off,
They do.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so speaking of like risks and even fears, I mean, you could be, I even look at, launching this thing just out of nowhere that is just part of me. People could have been like, what? Like, what are you doing now? But those opinions don't really matter. And you're not really afraid to fail because you know that in the failure, there's a lesson. There's always something. So speaking of that, taking risks, not being afraid to fail, like what are some of those fears that you maybe have had and just no longer?
Oh my gosh, I had so many fears, right? I was in big corporate, big corporate, and the biggest that it gets, and working for one of the largest companies in the country. And so there's a lot of security in that, so to speak, in your mind. You think it's secure, a company car, company expense account, benefits, stock options, all the things, right? And you think, wow, this is a bulletproof situation. But you know what, Elena, the truth is at any given minute, your job can be eliminated and they will tell you, thank you very much. And you'll be replaced within 24 hours. And that's the truth. And so when I kind of really took a step back and I started to think about what I'd been through over 25 plus years at that point of working, because I started right out of college, I was pretty young, started right into my sales career, actually. I said, I've seen many people who'd worked years and years for corporations get let go in a day and, lost a part of themselves. It was almost empowering for me to like think, instead of letting fear hold me back, what if it does work out? And instead of, saying, well, I can't do this because I have this or I have that. It is true. You do have income that's coming in, and how are you going to replace that? And me, when it comes to money and numbers, I'm very tactical. So what are some things that I did to prepare myself? Well, I actually was working nights and weekends to get licensed to do what I do. And I was still working my full-time job. I was building clients on nights and weekends. I didn't leave the position until I had almost 2.5 years of cash reserves underneath me, because I really knew in any business, it may be 3 years before you can pay yourself. So what are some things that you can do to prepare yourself? So I think when you take action against fear, it starts to decrease fear, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so big and heavy,
Mhm.
and that action, it's almost like that book by John Maxwell, Failing
Mhm.
Forward. And so,
Yep.
like, fail fast, right? Just
Mhm.
fail fast, get it done, because the lessons on the other side. And the longer that you put something off, and this kind of just goes to anything in life, like the longer you try to avoid it, or the longer you sit in that doubt and question area. I always say maybe is the place dreams go to die, right?
Yeah.
If the longer you're sitting
You're
in
better off
maybe,
with a no.
yes, and it's like the longer that you just put that, or play the what ifs, or just all of this, that fear, you're just feeding it. It's like growing
Mhm.
and growing. And so, to me, yeah, action is the thing that kind of just crumbles that down. And so that takes courage,
Mhm.
developing the courage. And so I'm just going to ask you, what like what actually gave you the courage? Like, where do you feel that you pulled that from a back pocket, or maybe didn't know it was there? Did it come from an experience, or a conversation, or a person? Like, what actually
I
told
think
Julie,
I
I
think it was yeah, I think it was multifaceted. I've always had, what I call radical confidence. You know what I mean? Like, you may not believe in me, but I believe in me, and that's all I need.
yeah,
That's all I need. It's my belief and my, connection to God.
yes,
And so those are 2 things that have sustained me through extremely dark times in my life. The other thing is I had a lot of examples of taking the chance and it working out. I had the right in front of my face example of my own father, but as I took a step back, I realized all of my grandparents were entrepreneurs, and I was like, "You know what? I never realized that." But I had been surrounded by that for years, and I think about my dad's dad and what how brave he was because he actually grew up in farming and had a dairy farm for years. Elena actually sustained his whole family through, the dairy farm, lost his parents when he was very young, took care of his 2 sisters and ran that dairy farm, took care of my grandmother and his family. And then when he was like, I want to say he was like late 60s, early 70s, he actually sold the farm because of a health condition and went on the road as a salesperson in actually construction. And I think back about that and I'm like, I took that for granted. When you're young, you don't really realize the lessons that you're learning. But I can remember every Friday when I was really young, I used to be able to get to go with my grandfather for half a day, and we would go to lunch, and we would call on clients, and we would go see his boss, which I thought was the funnest thing ever because they always used to, like, spoil me, but I was like, "Wow, grandpa has a really cool job." Like, he goes around in a car and he visits people, and he just makes sure that they're doing well and they have what they need, and this is really cool that this is now his job because he's really, really good at it. He was also in politics and was very successful. And I think about that, and then on the other side, my other grandfather was in construction, laid the pipeline from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to the state of New York.
wow,
And I think about what a character he was, but what a maverick he was. He was doing things that other people were not doing. And, I'm like, "You know what? It's in your genes. It's in your DNA. So if you're brave enough to just step out in faith, then and do the work." Those are 2 things that I think I was called to, step out in faith, but do the work. It can change your life. Alina, for you, what gave you the courage to kinda step out and, start the businesses that you started in, and how did you get to where you are right now today?
yeah. I think for me it's kind of the same. I mean, my parents had business, so I grew up just watching them be entrepreneurs, and they were extremely successful. I kind of tease because I was the kindergartner, or 5 years old, going to kindergarten in a mink coat,
With
which
your fur coats?
embarrasses the heck out of me when I think about it. But
Mhm,
that was my upbringing. I had a ruby ring in first grade, and so the success, and I measure it as that financial success. So we can even talk about that sometime. But the financial success is just how I grew up. Now, he wasn't always around,
mhm.
because when you're diving into that much, it takes your time. But at one point, they had 7 businesses,
Wow.
and and I was young and I just grew up in it. They would take me, I'd play in the office, and so it was just really one of those experiences that I didn't really see the clock in, clock out.
Mhm.
I didn't see the let's ask for vacation for this time. It's like if we were going, we were packing bags and we were going somewhere. So the thing through that though is my dad was such a powerhouse entrepreneur that he knew unless you try different things, you're never going to know what you're good at. And so
Mhm.
he would expose me to, all kinds of creative things and just different things. And I think by trying things and realizing young, like, oh, I'm really good at this, or oh my gosh, that is like not for me, it made me realize that not everything is going to be for me. But it
Right.
also made me afraid to not try new
Mhm.
things. And so for me, the kicker was knowing that I was going to have kids and I wanted to make my own schedule. And
Yeah.
so that was my first business at like
Mhm.
20, I think I was 27 when I opened up my first business, and I had that for 14 years because I could take my sons, and it was something. So I think just watching them just
Yeah.
do it, and then just spending so much time with my grandma, who never had a lot, but man, she worked hard. Like
Mhm.
the strength and the faith of that woman, I just admired her so much. And I think putting those together, I tried the corporate world and I did very successful in it, but
Mhm.
I didn't like the game. I didn't like the fakery. I didn't like the title stuff. So for me, I just think that just knowing you couldn't crush me, I had to be courageous and just go do it. But I think I learned early on that unless you try something, you're never going to know if you're good at it. And
Sure.
if you try something and it doesn't work, then guess what? Hey, do something else. It's not
Exactly.
that big a deal. So that's what happened for me there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think sometimes people get stuck on the fact like, "Oh, I've always been this person, so I can't step into this new role of being another person." Well, I mean, you should look to Elena and I for inspiration because every couple of months you'll see us doing something pretty unique and totally new.
Yep.
It's because we are serial entrepreneurs and we get bored if things are just static and the same all the time. So we are constantly challenging ourselves. I think reinvention can look different for everybody, Elena. Um, Reinvention, I think it's important to recognize it doesn't erase who you've always been. It's just you're able to build on, just like I did, you're able to leverage and build on the skills and who you were to actually go to this next level. I think people confuse reinvention with being someone else. But what are your thoughts on reinvention?
Oh gosh, I feel like every morning that we're given an opportunity, you can just actually become more honestly of who you've always been. I think when we look back, yeah, when you look back, those little glimpses of truly who you were created to be were there when we were young, before
Yeah.
like life came and like crushed you down, or um embarrassment, or friends, and just different things that happen when you're growing up, right? And as
Mhm.
women, I know that we've all been there. We don't want to be rejected. We've had our heart broken. We've
Yeah.
all the things, maybe been bullied. So you kind of shrink that little girl dreamer,
Mhm.
that was born with everything she needed. And so I think reinvention as we get older is simply just becoming more of who you are, like truly to the
Mhm.
core of your being, and no longer worrying about if it's good enough for anyone else or
Right.
not. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, every morning I think we have the opportunity to become a clearer, stronger version of who we were created to be. Yeah.
100%. 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Um, is there in our feed that you're looking at, are there any questions that we may have that we may have missed? Because I know we've been chatting it up over here, friend.
Yeah, we have been chatting it up. So we've got Limitless Leads Coaching. That's Mr. Jamal Cottrell saying, kicking ass, ladies. Thank you,
Thanks, Jamal.
Christine. Yep. We've got hello, ladies. Happy belated birthday. Oh, thank you. That's the Wonder Mama videos.
Mhm.
Labyrinth Lover says, hello, Elena and Julie. And then we have reinvention can be a daily practice. I love this conversation. So
Yes, it's so
beautiful.
true. So true. I know that our viewers that we have on this line are viewing from all over. We have people in Texas right now. We have some people in Florida. We have people from all over, just based on that list that you just shared with us.
Yes.
If we want to, should we put out a message or a question out to the group?
Yeah.
About what's one dream that maybe one of you guys have put on hold? You can text to us, message to us, and Elena and I will read it back. And if you could reinvent one part of your life, what would it be?
Yeah.
So we'll wait to see what we get back from our team that's watching us now. But just talking a little bit about reinvention. Every year in the beginning of the year, Elena, I do a strategic plan where I talk about how is this year going to go for me? What are my core things that I'm working on in my core businesses, which is Breathe Capital Planning and Breathe Capital Consulting. We set those goals together, Noah and I do. And then I also have personal goals and what I would call other professional goals. And I purposely decide how am I going to spend my time. I did this in the beginning of 2025 and I did it in 2026. In 2025, I decided I wanted to add an additional credential to what I was already doing, and I wanted to get certified in divorce coaching. So I proactively sought that out, got specially certified, and started coaching. It's like, I don't ask anybody for permission. Like, I decide, like, I think I need to do this. I think this would help people that I'm working with, and I add it on. I also do things where I think I'll be challenged.
Yeah.
So I also take some time in the beginning of the year to say, what do I need self-development wise that's going to challenge me to become the person I aspire to be? So there was some additional coaching that I went through with some people that helped me. And I was looking to build my retreat side of my business. So I've been doing more and more of that with collaborators such as yourself and other people working on 1-day events, 2-day events, 3-day event retreat type environments. And I'm just loving it. Like, I get to do so many cool things. It's because I decided in the beginning of the year that I was going to take my time and carve it out like this and actually do these things in addition to what I already do.
Yeah. And I think that you make a great point because, you know, we don't, you and I don't discuss like every detail of how we run what we run. But in speaking about things like this, that there's a lot that's very similar.
Yeah.
And so I think that says a lot. Like, that says a lot for those that are tuning in that want to build something or that maybe are struggling at gaining that traction, because I do somewhat the same the start of every year. I usually start in October, in November, because by December it's like done. You know, I need my next year laid out. But one of the things that I've started doing the past couple years as well is not only mapping out just the goals, the vision, timelines, you know, just almost anything that you can. But I also started assigning myself things that I would say no to. Because if it was not going to align with my goals, my vision, my purpose, my people, you know, it's just a no. And not that I don't support it, not that I don't believe in it, but it doesn't need my time or my energy. There are specific things. And so I think for people, especially if they're just starting out, because you know me, I'm the business builder, you know, my crown builder framework. I love building. But I think it's really important to realize, like, you don't have to say yes to everything, you know. There are some things to say no to. So that's just a tip. Like, that just popped in my head, and I wanted to share that both of us accomplishing so much, we have a lot that we do similar. And I think people need to hear that these are some things that really are important, you know, for that vision. But we do have a comment that came in. Shelly Dotson says, I'd reinvent my career path. I wish I'd become an entrepreneur and pursued my current coaching and consulting work 2 decades ago. Okay, Julie, I'm going to let you speak to that because you said earlier, you didn't even start until,
42.
But
So,
yeah,
I mean,
get it.
Shelley, you know what? The fact that you did make the decision to move forward and to leave the big corporate structure and like choose yourself and what's important to you and how you can serve others, I think speaks volumes to you. And I think you should give yourself some credit for even having the courage to step through the gap and do that. I think secondarily, people on social media often make things look like it happened overnight. Like just one day we just wake up and we're like, oh, we're living a fabulous life. I'm sorry. I've been coaching and I've been working with business owners since 1993. So I'm really going to date myself here, but I know for a fact that it takes real effort and oftentimes can take more than 1 year, more than 2 years, and sometimes 3 and 4 before you get to the level of success that you've envisioned for yourself. So my message to you is don't give up on yourself. And if you feel like you're not in the traction or where you want to be, the answer is always, and people hate to hear this from me, but the answer is always activity. And what I mean by activity is where you're proactively looking to affiliate, associate, connect with people that could use your services. And I've followed this silly little formula, Elena. People laugh at me, but guess what? It's built a heck of a company that's sustaining multiple families. It's my 2-a-day formula for success, which is, and I know I've shared this with you, I've shared it with other people. People think I'm crazy and they think, oh, it sounds so easy to do. It's not. I proactively meet 2 new people every single day, 5 days a week. So I take Saturday and Sunday off, or I may take a Monday off and decide I want to work a Saturday. But I meet 2 new people that could either use my services that I have, could either be someone that could refer business to me and that I could refer to, like a strategic alliance, or someone that I want to get to know that I think could be of help to my business. So I'm looking for 2 people like that every single day. I actually don't let myself go home or relax until I've met that requirement. And you can do this through a myriad of ways. You can do it through social media. You can do it through LinkedIn. You can do it through networking events, but if you keep your calendar focused on meeting people and engaging with people that can use your services or that you guys can have a mutually beneficial relationship, it makes a difference in your business.
Yeah.
What would you say, Elena? What would your advice be?
I agree 100%. I come from with my Crown Builder framework, from that position for the new business just starting. And I will say if the effort is there and the results are not, it's a couple things. One, the tangible, and I know people hate that word, but when you are passionate and when you're a place of service and when you want to help, it's really hard to create a tangible offer that you do, like whether it be a product or a service, but what is it? Make it so super clear and very not clever, but something people can understand. That number one, I usually say, is why people are struggling as hard as they are in the beginning, because they don't have that. They don't have the tangible, what is the thing, right? That helps you understand, who do I need to meet? Who actually needs this? Because if you're not clear on that, you're like, I could just be talking to everyone and not really know if it's my right person. And so one of the tips that I like to give, because it popped up in my head when I was traveling not too long ago, if you're sitting in the airport and you have a layover and you decide to go to the bar and get some water or a Bloody Mary, whatever you're doing, but you meet someone and someone says, well, I'm here on business, I do such and such, and you're going to answer what you do. How can you answer quickly? And most people talk around it, like paragraphs. That just means you're not clear. So a lot of times I feel like in the beginning, that's where the struggle is. And so people are trying to do steps 3, 4, and 5 when they haven't even figured out step 1. And that to me, I feel is like a big thing. And the other thing is understanding that we don't build the same. And so that's why with my Crown Builder framework, I created the assessment. What business builder type are you? Are you a spark, a structure, a message, or a momentum builder? Because if you're trying to listen, and I love coaches, I love mentors, we all need them. But if you're trying to model something that worked for them, but that's not how you build, it is not going to work for you. And
it won't feel authentic, right?
Yeah, it won't feel authentic.
It'll feel untrue. Yeah.
You're going to feel like you're failing more than having a win. And it's nothing wrong with you. It's just how you build. And so once I tapped into those things and been able to like see what it's doing for other people. So I agree that can only come through the action, how you say, you know, people need to take action too. But that tangible, that dang tangible that, you know, new business owners are struggling to find, that's the hardest part. But nothing can be built around until that is clear, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. And here's one of the greatest questions I think was ever asked to me by one of my super elite mentors that is currently a billionaire. I'll just put it like that. He said, what happens as a result of me interacting with you? What's the outcome for me? And when he posed that to me, I had to really think, okay, what's the process that I'm currently taking my clients through? And what is the objective? What is the ideal outcome for them? And as I started to think about, as I was building my business, I started asking myself that question. What type of transformation do I want my clients to experience? Components that we have in our system is very different than a lot of my competitors. A big portion of what I do is true financial education, where I actually break things down and I explain things for people. Information that's often being gatekept and never explained to people. I take the time to actually explain, what does this mean and how is this going to benefit you? Yeah. And I think if you can think with the end in mind, which is kind of what you're saying, Elena, but kind of adding on to what you're saying, like, what is it that you want people to experience as a result of working with you? That will also help you figure out who are your people, right? Because I think, like you said, you really can't go to work until you've defined those things.
And that is the hardest part. You know, that is the hardest part. I think, you know, especially if you're building a brand and you think like, I have to build the brand. Well, you are the brand until you figure those pieces out. And so, you know, creating the website, you still got to get people to go visit the website. Creating the pretty logo and stuff, you still got to get people to pay attention. Like, so some of those things, don't waste your time on that part right now. It will come, but you've got to get clear. I love your question, or, you know, the question to ask yourself, because you tie that in with your builder type and that tangible. Now you've got something, you know, now you've got the start of an actual business that can be built upon, instead of, I always like to say, because I just work in that framework of just building. But it's kind of like, you can't put the roof on if you've not like put the wall studs up, or you can't like,
well, you need the foundation.
Yeah. You can't go out and buy the pretty picture. Well, I mean, you could, but you could, you know, buy the pretty pictures and pick out the paint. But if the drywall's not up yet, like, what the heck? And so, you know, that's the thing. I think people are actually feeling like they're working really hard. I think people feel like they're staying very extremely busy, but it's not on the things that are actually the
generating revenue.
Yeah, because that's not the fun stuff in the beginning. That's not fun. You want to be seen out here, and that stuff is what's done in the trenches. Like that's you got to get, you know, down and deep in there. But man, once you get that, then like you said, you can meet the 2 people a day, and you can share your message with confidence and be courageous to introduce yourself to someone, because you're actually competent over what your whole business is. And so, yeah, this
has been so fun, Elena. Can you believe we are almost time is almost
we have one more comment. Okay, so Martha, she said, I'm so proud of you ladies. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Martha.
Luxury Events LLC says, I've been reinventing myself for years. Learning never stops. As you grow, you inspire others to grow. And that's beautiful.
So true. This is so true. In fact, I just, we have someone that reached out to me recently and said, because of the process that I went through with you, I'm actually becoming a coach, a certified divorce coach. I was so excited for this person. Like, that was just so cool to hear. And, you know, I think that's the greatest compliment that you can ever be paid, is that you inspire someone to maybe do something that they've always wanted to do, but they didn't have the courage to do at the time.
Yes.
makes me so happy. So there's more than enough business out here. Like there's more than enough work to do. And if you're feeling called to something, like tap into that calling, really, even if it takes you with some pen and paper or with your computer, whatever you like, kind of typing out what it is that you feel is the calling, what is on your heart, where do you think you could add value, and what are you inspired to share with others? I think that that's important to talk about. Elena, as we look forward to our next session, which I know we're bi-weekly, so not next week, but the following, I'm so excited about our next conversation, the courage to pivot.
Yes.
Because sometimes the life that we're meant to live begins with that courage to make that change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of add on to what Elena and I have started today and talk about, what does it take to pivot? What have we seen from other people, not only ourselves, but how have we seen other people pivot in their lives?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you'd like to say in closing, Elena?
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it because the word pivot means many things to me, and I like to use the word flow more than I do pivot. So I think we will have an amazing conversation in our next episode, like in 2 weeks. But to me, I just want to say, like, if today's conversation encouraged you, because this is something new that Julie and I are doing together, because we felt there needs to be more. People need more. And so this is something new. So if today encouraged you or, made you feel a little hopeful or want to ask questions, please share it. Please subscribe, because if you subscribe, then you'll get reminded when our episodes are coming up, because we want the love and support too. We want to take what we've been through, what we're currently going through, but like the excitement ahead, and we want to just open up the conversation around that. So just understanding that best chapter is still ahead, and we want to kind of share some of the things that have allowed us to kind of build a life that we're like extremely vibing with. I'm loving it. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, and like share this out, comment, let us know what you thought. If there's questions or topics that you want to see us cover in the future, drop that down too.
Please submit it. And yes, please share this if you could with your network. We want to reach as many people as we can. We want to be of service to others. That's what Elena and I are all about. And thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate your time here at Divine Abundance.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We are going to play our song out. So have a little dance this afternoon.
You got purpose, you got fire. He's the spark that lifts you higher. You were made for joy, made for more. It's time to walk through heaven's door. The world is yours, take your place. Every dream aligned with grace. Overflow is your reward. Walk it out, abundance is